Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme Issue 5. And this was a pretty good issue because it got us moving along in the direction of who's kind of messing around with Doctor Strange's forge. So, since him and Ludgate have figured out kind of that his forge has been compromised, we see that Strange has gone to go check on someone else that could potentially have the keys to his forge. And of course, this leads him to Nidavellir, and he is just has to fight two demons, Mr. Smile and Mr. Sulk, who have two hammers that are one of entropy and one of negentropy. And one can like reconstitute stuff, and one can kind of like rip it kind of apart. So they're kind of opposites and they help complement each other. I mean, hell, during the fight, one's able to combine oxygen and hydrogen and Strange's mouth to make him pretty much start choking on water. It's like, damn. So he really has to think on his feet as he's like going around trying to figure out how to take them down. But he's able to pretty much get their hammers to kind of connect and blast each other out. And he's able to figure out, yep, these things are connected to my forge, and it's pretty much on me because whenever somebody's like stealing something from some kind of magician, it's always kind of like on them because they're supposed to make sure that it's taken care of. That's Strange's thought process. I don't know if I quite agree with it. Yes, you should lock some stuff up, but what people do with it is on them, not on you. So we find out that he puts them like in like a dungeon dimension with this giant kind of creature thing that was actually pretty cool looking, and that the other person he had come to Nidavellir to see was a Eofrin, and he sees that the keys are missing and that he's dead, and that he's going to avenge him. So he's able to get back to our realm just in time for the surgery that he was scheduled for, that he was pretty much going to be late for. But he gets there. He also gets in touch with Kermit, figuring out what he's doing. He was trying to pretty much figure out who was connected with the Wrecker. Ludgate's like, I thought you already put him in prison. It's like, yeah, but he was destroying all this stuff because somebody wanted the properties and all that. He was able to go through all this uh, back channels and find it connected to this one certain company, and also found this weird kind of string of letters. He was able to reproduce it with his photographic memory, but it doesn't really help him out at the moment until Kermit's like, hey, you also got a message from Zelma. She needs you at the academy. And of course, Strange kind of fills Ludgate in. They meet Zelma there. He does a little introduction with them, but she's called him there because somebody wants to talk with Strange. And Strange is like, well, Zelma would know if it's a trap or not. And we see that it is a troll called Grimlack. And she has come and he's like, well, what do you kind of need from me? And she's like, well, my husband's dead. And he's like, I don't know how that really pertains to me. It's like, well, I'll get to that. Well, evidently, her and her husband, Vinlu, are renowned wand makers. Now, granted, wands in this are kind of a niche kind of market, so they kind of supplement their income and everything like that by dealing with kind of black market kind of things, amulets and so on and so forth. And they usually pay a tithe to this demon Morla, and they're like, yeah, he'll protect us, but with this kind of like shielding and whatnot. But there's everybody else trying to muscle in, and this one demon, King Ragnar, yeah, King Ragnar pops up with a wand the likes of which they have never seen before, and their magic simply wasn't enough, and Vinlu got killed, decimated by it. And then they put Grimlock in and were like cooking her until she couldn't even really scream anymore. But of course, they thought she was dead at that point, so Ragnar was like, hey, get everything we can. I need fat purses for this auction that's going to be happening in Krill. It'll be happening in such a time length. Let's do this. And then, of course, Strange and Ludgate are like, okay, we got this. We got about 12 hours converting the time differences. And they're like, okay, we just need to do this and do it right. So they're able to get Ragnar so that way they can get his invitation to the auction. And of course, they decide to go the mechanical kind of route with image inducers to shield them, to promote an image so that way they can get in, because if they were doing it with magical means, they'd be detected right off the bat. I really like that they kind of showed that. Ludgate's like, what the hell? Why are we doing this? Now, granted, he's not completely against it and making like any rant or whatnot, but this is like one of the strengths of Doctor Strange and why he makes such a good Sorcerer Supreme. He sometimes thinks of other ways besides magic to defeat people that are using magic. So they got their image inducers on, they go in, and I really like the splash page of this like bizarre bazaar as it's going on. And they're like, okay. You see them talking with each other. Evidently Ludgate is supposed to be the lackey, but we kind of see what's going on. They're like looking around, and we see that it's Madame Mask that's talking about showing off all these things. Like, yeah, you better have your money because we got a lot of good stuff here today in the Infinite Bazaar. It's like, okay. And I like that we get a little bit of a rundown how it took like Doctor Doom, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange the last time to take her on, because she went from kind of petty thievery to stealing mystical items, and that did really screw her over in that one. I remember that one. Yeah, she had some problems with that. But evidently she had gotten out of prison and is now somehow connected to this. We don't know if she's the one behind it, and I'd be kind of okay with that. But we'll kind of have to see, because she's like going around, goes to Ragnar. Of course, he slips up and calls her Madame Mask. Nobody there would know her by that name. She's like, hello, Stephen. And we find out that it's actually Ludgate. And Doctor Strange is like up on a roof being like, hey, misdirection is a magician's primary battle strategy. Had to use that. And he's like, okay, I've got all these demons around me and everything, but they don't know where I'm at, and they don't know what I'm doing at the moment. So that gives me the critical edge that I need to make sure that this goes on. So they're in a pretty kind of tough spot, and I can't wait to see kind of what's going to be going on with how Strange and Ludgate are going to deal with this. Now, granted, I still have the feeling that Ludgate is connected to this somehow, because him coming back from the dead like this can't just happen out of pure happenstance. It's somehow connected to this, and we'll have to see kind of how that goes out, but I'm definitely interested to see how they're going to deal with this bizarre situation and what's going to be happening, and how Strange is going to have to deal with what's going on with this forge. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.